I've played many horror games. Games like Luigi's Mansion, Repo, and Minecraft are all the scariest of the scary that can keep anyone up at night, and yet this game trumps them all, then ruins it in one level transition. Before I explain what docked Shipwrecked 64 points on my arbitrary YouTuber vocal ranking system, the game has a long, disturbing, but interesting story that plenty of people have covered in detail, so if you want to learn the story in a proper way, you should either play the game or watch a video essay on it. But if you just want to see the game fumble the horror bag a little bit, stay here, because I'm gonna poorly summarize it real quick, so you're caught up with the gist, minus a lot of more intricate details, cause that would take too long. Company nearing bankruptcy finds a biohazard. It makes their mascots come to life, but of course they kill people and are made of bodies. And of course the CEO has a sick wife who may benefit from the biohazard, so safety is ignored. Said company also has a game studio. Lead dev gets angry when the game is abruptly cancelled due to CEO's sick wife. Lead dev decides to finish the game alone secretly, but details all the corrupt things the company and CEO have done in the game with secrets, mainly by showing what the sentient mascots have done to expose the company's evil practices. Lead dev, after publishing the expose game, takes his own life, with the game being his final message before he's gone. So yeah, clearly the story has everything an unsettling horror game needs to be successful, and with how the game drip feeds this to you with random cutscenes, voice logs, and notes, you never know the true nature of things happening, which adds a healthy amount of confusion that builds tension. And tension is this game's strongest attribute by far. Even when the game makes you play the patched, non-scary version of the game, it's hard not to still get tense, because the unfinished nature of the base game foreshadows what is to come so well. And after all the tension builds from the base game, and you're as taut as the Grand Canyon tightrope wire, you get hit with abrupt back-to-back disturbing cutscenes for each character in Layer 1. That combo with really creepy visual effects that do shock you, but they don't ease the tension, building it more, and then you get to Layer 2. Layer 2 out of 4 is the best layer the game has. It continues to drip feed the lore and starts introducing us to the heavy ARG components this game offers. This is usually given through the many ciphers and pop-ups the game links us to after hitting certain buttons. These that will now be non-stop thrown at you give YouTube videos and other websites throughout the game helping you to solve the ARG components. These links along with the ciphers are such an interesting way to go about creating puzzles, which goes a long way making you almost feel as though you're solving a real mystery until you look back at your character you're controlling, and it's hard to just not see it as some really cool puzzles for a game. But for real, even though I just downplayed it, they really do immerse you further in the abstract environments that surround them in Layer 2, which are really cool to explore and find your way through. But then we get to Layer 3, which starts off strong. At this point, you're starting to understand the story, at least partially, with the beginning of Layer 3 enforcing what you know, testing your skill with the ciphers and puzzles, while still being in equally interesting areas as Layer 2. And right when you're feeling the most confident, you get linked to Stumbler's website, which drops almost all pretense and just explains what's to come, tells you what you need to do once you reach the latter portion of Layer 3, and tells you about the Dwellers, which is where my main issue with the final portions of this game lie. So the majority of what Stumbler tells you about occurs in the Plaza section of Layer 3, and here is where the Dwellers can roam freely and attack you, which should be pretty exciting. With the game having platforming game movement, juking and dodging the Dwellers would be really fun, especially in the Plaza, which is extremely open with many walls to capitalize on the wall jumping movement option. And of course, if you fail at the many opportunities the game gives you to escape with movement and barrels, of course it would only be right to get jump scared for you failing to outrun the creatures. But instead of getting jump scared fairly, or even at good timing, each Dweller has a jump scare animation not just for catching you, but one that plays every single time you are spotted, which when I first experienced this, it went about as well as you would expect. Wait, you know what I mean? Good to know. Okay, so it jump scares you when you get spotted. Why would it do that, bro? Oh, that sucks. So yeah, getting spotted is essentially like getting hit by a flashbang, but instead of just a little pop, it's an extremely grating noise. As you can imagine, jump scare fatigue hits probably within the first 30 minutes of the section, and you start to get really annoyed by them anytime they occur in the future. But don't you worry, you only have to deal with these spotted jump scares for around 3 more hours in Layer 4 after this quick 2-hour Plaza section, so surely you'll get used to them, which you do, but you also get trained into hiding in barrels for extreme amounts of time just to avoid getting the spotted jump scare. This leads to little to no intense chase sequences where you barely make it to safety because you have been psychologically trained into never doing anything even slightly risky or adrenaline pumping. So with these dwellers now a constant threat to your eardrums unfairly, the game becomes your sink, but specifically your sink when you turn on the hot water to wash your hands, just for it to only be warm right as you finish washing, causing you to barely experience the water's warmth. And in the game, the metaphor would graphically look like this, with the warmth of the water and how tense you are being interchangeable. In layers 1 to 2, the game makes you tense first, then scares you a bit, lowering the tension, then restoring it before it scares you again. Then in layers 3 to 4, this is how it looks. It retains the tension layer 2 had at first, then it loses it all after you realize jump scares are your life now, even if you play without getting caught. Ba-dee-da. Dude, stop staring at me. What if I get spotted? Get ready for a jump scare, guys. 3, 2... With that said, it doesn't fully ruin the experience. Yeah, it's really annoying, and since the ARG components get harder, many of the scattered notes read will get interrupted by being spotted as well. But the reason it bothers me so much is because they had a perfect way to do this without completely blinding you that they use for other aspects of the game. As I showed before, they use the black bars of the screen to display creepy imagery to indicate certain actions the dwellers take. So imagine instead of a jump scare, they split the spotted visual onto both sides of the screen, with the only indicator you were spotted being their visage and their stomping as they near you from behind. Not only would evading them take more skill, the stress would set in a more gradual curve, making the actual capture jump scare more impactful and less cheap. And you know what? Instead of only making the spotted jump scares into a black bars thing, what if in the final section of layer 4, where you need to find the 10 cylinder pages, they abruptly added the spotted jump scares here? Since that section is the final most intense portion of the game, I feel like the constant annoyance and stress spotted jump scares give the player would fit perfectly for the final challenge, but in the plaza of layer 3 and the sewer section of layer 4, they don't really feel right to me. In the same way it doesn't feel right watching those videos of people dressing up as the Grinch and scaring their kids on Christmas. Though my opinion and stance I gave in this video might just be a massive cope, and there's a chance I am just being a baby who can't handle jump scares. But if that was the case, would I still recommend the game? Because I do recommend it and think you should play it if it sounded interesting. My summary was pretty atrocious, so you didn't get the story spoiled too bad, and even though I critiqued layer 3 and 4 harshly, I wouldn't have done so if it wasn't for how good and immersive the rest of the game was. Yeah, I maybe should have glazed the game a little more, but if I start analyzing every small detail, this video becomes a generic 5-hour video essay, and we can't have too many of those going around. Thank you to my members Luca and Stevie John for the $1 this month, and if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Wait, what? How did I not get caught? How did I not get caught, guys? Bro, what? Bro, what is this, man?